Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for computer applications at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is go over a demonstration of how to complete the flyer in Word Module 1 Assignment 1. Alright, this is going to be part 1 of a 3-part series of videos which are going to take you through the steps in creating the flyer for your first assignment for this class, which is Word Module 1 Assignment 1. Okay. Now, Microsoft Word is a word processing program that allows us to create Word-based documents. Things like flyers, which we're going to create in this first module, research papers, and letters. Okay. In this project, in Word Module 1 Assignment 1, we're basically going to learn how to type text in a Word document, how to correct spelling and grammar errors in a Word document, and also how to save a Word document. Okay? And then in part 2 of this demonstration, which will be a different video, I'll show you how to format the text in the flyer. Okay? Alright, so let's get started here. The very first thing you want to do when you're starting to work on this first assignment is you'll want to go to My Ozarka and go to the activities page and click on the assignment or the activity called Word Module 1 Assignment 1. Alright, and that's what I'm displaying here on the screen. You'll want to make sure you carefully read through all the instructions before you get started on the steps in the textbook. And I'm going to take you through the steps in the textbook in just a minute. But before we do that, you'll notice one of the instructions I have listed here is that I want you to open up the data file titled Blank Document with Office 2013 through 2022 Theme Applied from the resources section of this page. So if you'll scroll down just a little bit under resources, you'll see a link there called Blank Document with Office 2013 through 2022 Theme Applied. That file is what I want you to open up and start with as far as creating this flyer for this first assignment. The reason I'm having you do this is because Microsoft changed the theme, the default theme and the default font and colors that go with the theme since the book was published. So in order for your document to look like the textbook, to look identical to the textbook, we're going to have to use this older theme. And so I want you to click on where it says Blank Document with Office 2013 through 2022 Theme Applied. Go ahead and click on that. And then you'll see the link to the download right up at the top of your top right-hand side of your page. Go ahead and click on the link there. All right. And then you'll need to click on Enable Editing right here at the top of the page. All right. And so that what that did was that opened up a blank document with the old Office theme applied, the one that your book uses. Okay, and that way, as we work through this flyer, creating this flyer for this first assignment, your document will look just like the examples in the textbook. Okay, all right. So in this first module in Microsoft Word, we're going to learn how to create a flyer and modify it. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is look on page WD1-2 in the textbook. At the bottom of the page there, it shows you what the completed flyer should look like. For every assignment for this class, you always want to make sure you look at what the finished document should look like, and then make sure as you're working through your document And especially after you complete it, before you submit it, you want to compare yours with the example in the textbook and make sure that yours looks like the example. If it doesn't, then you need to make those corrections before you submit your assignment for a grade. All right? So let's go ahead and get started here on page WD1-3. It wants us to, actually here it's just having you start Microsoft Word and so forth. We've already done that because we've opened up an existing document. So we can skip over those first few pages there. What I do want you to do is if the window in Word is not maximized, in other words, if it's not covering the entire screen, I want you to click the maximize button up here on the right side of the title bar to make sure that your Word window covers the entire screen like mine does. That'll just make it easier to see what you're working on in your document. All right. Then on page WD1-5, we also want to make sure that we're on print layout view. All right. And so down here at the bottom, right above the taskbar here on the status bar, the right side of the status bar, you want to make sure that this second view option is selected, which is the print layout view. It should already be selected, but if it isn't, go ahead and click on it. And what that does is that just shows us what the document will look like when it's printed. So it's already showing us on the electronic copy on the screen. It's showing us what the printed document will look like. All right. So once we've done that, on the bottom of page 1-5, it has several terms there that you're going to need to go ahead and read through and study so that you know the proper terminology as it pertains to the Word window. You know, things like status bar and document window, some of the terms that I've already used. You need to, if you don't already know those terms, you're going to need to study those on those next couple of pages there. Also, the home tab and the ribbon, things like that. If you don't already know those terms, then you need to study those. All right? And so that's what the next few pages are. It's just giving you that terminology so that you know what the terms mean when we refer to different things in Microsoft Word. All right. So the next thing we need to do on page 1-10 in the textbook is we need to click View up on the ribbon so that we can look at the View tab sheet. And then we need to make sure that print layout is selected on the left-hand side of the ribbon there under Views in the Views group. All right. And then we also need to make sure that 100% is selected in the Zoom section. So if it's not already selected, go ahead and click on 100%, and that way your Zoom level is set correctly in your document. We're going to change that later, but right now just make sure it's set to 100%. And then also we want to make sure that the ruler checkbox is selected in the Show group so that we can see the horizontal ruler and the vertical ruler on our in our document window. That's going to become important a little bit later on. And then what we need to do next is go to the Home tab up on the ribbon. Go ahead and click the Home tab. And that'll take us to the Home tab sheet. And in the Styles group right here, we want to make sure that Normal is selected. We want to make sure that the normal style is applied to the document. All right, so that we have all the default fonts and so forth applied. All right. Then on page 1-11, since this is going to be a flyer or an announcement, and we want to get people's attention, we're going to need to use more of the page than what the default margins would allow. And so because of that, we're going to change the margins from the 1-inch default that you normally have in Word to a 1/2 inch all the way around the page. So to do that, we're going to click the layout button up on the, or tab up on the ribbon, and we're going to click on the margins button to open up the drop down list for margins. That gives us several different options there. Right now you'll notice that normal is selected, but we want to change that margin setting to narrow. So we're going to click on the narrow option there. Okay. You'll notice your paragraph mark and insertion point change in your document to reflect that change in the margins. Okay. And then on page 1-12, this is where we're actually going to start typing in the text for our flyer. Okay. So first thing we want to do is type in what it shows there on step 1 on page 1-12. All right. So we're going to type in, this is going to be the headline for the announcement or the flyer, which is going to be the very first paragraph. So we're going to type in wash your hands. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in on my document just a little bit. Yours is fine to be set to 100% right now, but just to make it where you can see my my document a little bit better, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, okay, just to make it easier for you. All right. So once you've typed in the headline, then you're going to press the Enter key. Now, make sure that you type in the punctuation at the end of the headline paragraph. Don't forget that exclamation mark. That's important. Okay? All right. And then once we pressed Enter, then we're going to, on page 1-13, it wants us to click the View tab again up on the ribbon. And this is where we're going to change the zoom. We're actually going to change it to page width. So in the zoom group on the View tab, you're going to click on page width. And what that's going to do is that's going to zoom in on your document enough to where the entire width of the page is also the width of the screen. So it's going to basically adjust it to your screen. However wide your screen is also going to be how wide your document is. And again, it's just going to make it a little bit easier to see what you're doing as you're doing it in Microsoft Word as we're creating the flyer. Okay? All right. So once we've done that, on page 1-14, we want to make sure that the formatting marks are displayed in our document. It's going to make it easier to know where we press the Enter key and where we press the space bar and the tab key and so forth. So you'll notice these little paragraph marks right here show where we have pressed the Enter key. Now, if you're not seeing those paragraph marks, then what you need to do is go to the Home tab, and in the paragraph group, that little button on the upper right-hand corner of the paragraph group that looks like a little paragraph mark, you need to, that's the Show Hide button, and it's a toggle. So the first time you click the button, it's going to show the formatting marks. The next time you click it, it's going to hide the formatting marks. Obviously, that's why it's called the Show Hide button. So right now, my paragraph marks are already displayed, or my formatting marks are already displayed. But if yours aren't, then you need to click that Show Hide button so that you can see those formatting marks. Now, these are marks that are not going to print when you go to print a document. These are just marks that allow the person creating the document, allow them to be able to see where they have pressed the enter key and the space bar and so forth. Okay, just allows us to more effectively format our document. All right. So next, now that we've got our formatting marks displayed, at the bottom of page 1-14, it talks about word wrap. I'm not going to explain that to you. You can read through it. Let me know if you have questions about it. Most of you probably already know what that is. But if you don't, you need to read through it again and make sure you understand it. All right. On page 1-15, what we want to do here is we're going to type in the next paragraph of our announcement or our flyer. So we're going to type in washing hands, or actually washing your hands with soap and water can decrease outbreaks of foodborne illness because it can prevent spreading germs from your hands to food. All right. Now, as you're typing that text for that paragraph of the flyer, make sure that you're typing it correctly. All right. Go back and proofread. Make sure, because it's real easy to leave out a word or to type in a word that you think it is and that it's not really what it told you to type in, or any number of errors that you can make. So make sure that it's correct before you move on. Okay? All right. Then once you've typed in that paragraph and you made sure it's correct, you're going to press the enter key so that we can then type in the next paragraph. All right. Now, on the bottom of page 1-15, it talks about spelling and grammar check in Microsoft Word. And it talks about what the different flags mean, whether it's a red wavy underline or a blue double underline or a purple dotted underline. Each one of those flags mean different things in as far as errors in Microsoft Word. So what we're going to do next in our next few paragraphs here is we're going to purposely make some spelling and grammar errors, and so that we can learn how to correct those as we create this document. Okay, and this is something that's important because no matter how much time and experience you have with Microsoft Word, you're going to make some mistakes. I mean, I've been doing this for many, many years, and I still make mistakes. So there are going to be times when you're going to have to use the spelling and grammar check to go back and correct errors in your document. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to learn how to use the tool in Microsoft Word that allows us to make those corrections. All right, so we're going to type in the word how and a question mark there. That's going to be the title of one of our list. And then we're going to press enter. And then we're going to type in the first paragraph that goes with that, that's part of that list under the how heading. Okay, so we're going to type in wet hands with clean. And the word clean we're purposely misspelling. Okay, so kind of look at that. That's a misspelled word for the word clean. We're basically adding an E to the end of it. We will go back and correct that later. So just go ahead and type it the way it's shown in the textbook, and we will correct it in just a few minutes. All right? So clean, running water, and apply soap, period. All right? Make sure that you insert the punctuation at the end of that paragraph. All right, then you're going to press enter, and we're going to type in the next paragraph, which is lather hands, palms, backs, below nails, between fingers, around thumbs, all right, by rubbing them together with the soap. And again, make sure you type in the punctuation at the end of that paragraph. Then you're going to press enter and type in the next paragraph, which is scrub hands for, and the word for, you're going to purposely misspell it with an E at the end. Okay, so F-O-R-E instead of F-O-R. And again, we're going to correct that later. So, at least 20 seconds. Alright, then press enter, and then you're going to type in the next paragraph, which is rinse soap off of, and that's going to be an error that we're going to go back and correct as well. Alright, so rinse soap off of hands under clean running water. And make sure you remember your punctuation at the end of that paragraph. And you'll notice it flags the words off of. We're going to, again, correct that in just a few minutes. All right. Then you're going to type in that last paragraph for this particular list, which is dry hands well using a towel, or, and you're going to repeat the word or, okay? And that's a common error that you see people make when they're typing in Word, is typing the same word twice, all right? And so we're going to purposely do that, again, so that we can learn how to correct it in just a minute, all right? And then just type in the rest of that, air dryer, punctuation, there we go. All right, so we've got that list typed in there for the top portion of the flyer. All right, now you'll notice as we purposely misspelled some of these words that we just typed, and we made some other grammar errors and so forth, repeated some words, Microsoft Word flagged those errors for us, okay? And so now what we're going to do on page 1-17 is we're going to one by one go through and right-click on each one of those flagged words and correct the errors that we made, all right? So we're going to start out with the word clean that we purposely misspelled. So we're going to right-click on that flagged word, and you'll see a shortcut menu open up, and you need to click on the correct spelling for the word clean, which is at the very top of the list there. So you're going to click on the correct spelling, and it automatically changes it, okay? All right, then we're going to go down to our next flagged word, which is the word for. All right, we're going to right-click on that, and we're going to click on the correct spelling, which is F-O-R instead of F-O-R-E. So we're going to click on the correct spelling there in the list, and it corrects it for us. All right. Then we're going to go down to our next flagged word, which is the word hands right here. We're going to right-click on that. Actually, we need to right-click on the off of. Let's go ahead and right-click on off of, and we need to change that to just off, okay? So when you right-click on off of, it'll give you the suggested corrections, and you need to click on the word off there, okay? And it'll just delete the word of, which is not needed in this case, all right? So now that's correct. And then our last mistake is where we purposely typed in the word or twice in this last paragraph that we typed in. So we're going to right-click the word or there that is repeated, the second word or there that we added there. And in the suggested correction box there, we're going to choose delete repeated word. All right, and it'll just delete one of those ors that we have that was extra word that we typed in that we didn't need in that last paragraph. All right, so now we've got all of our errors corrected. All right. And now what we're ready to do is on page 1-18 on step 8, we want to press the N key on our keyboard so that it moves the insertion point to the end of that paragraph where our insertion point was. So we want to move to the end of that last paragraph, basically. All right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to press the Enter key. And basically, below this list that we just typed in, later on we're going to insert a picture there. So we want a blank line there. So what we want to do, instead of typing in the next paragraph on that paragraph that we just created, we're going to press Enter one more time so that we have that blank paragraph that we can go and use later as a location to insert our picture later on. Okay? And now what we're ready to do on page 1-19 is we're ready to type in the remaining text for our flyer. So on page 1-19, under to enter more text, we're going to work from steps 1 through 7 there. Okay? So we're going to type in the word when and a question mark. That's going to be the title for our second list. All right? And we're going to press the Enter key. And then we're going to type in what's shown there on step 2 on page 1-19. So we're going to type in after eating, coughing, sneezing, or using a tissue. And then press Enter. And then you're going to type in the next paragraph, which shows you what to type on step 3. So you're going to type in before, comma, during, comma, and after preparing food. And then you're going to press Enter and then type in the next paragraph there, which it shows on step 4. We're going to type in after using or assisting someone in the restroom. Press Enter, and then you're going to type in the paragraph that's shown on step 5. So you're going to type in after touching an animal, animal feed, or animal waste. Then press Enter, and then you're going to type in the last paragraph for this list, which is shown on step 6. So you're going to type in after handling dirty equipment or garbage. Then press Enter. All right. And now this last paragraph here for our flyer is going to be our signature line. All right. It's going to tell our audience, the people reading this flyer or announcement, it's going to tell them what they need to do next. All right. So in this case, it's going to be step 7 there on page 1-19. So we're going to type in visit www.foodworkers.com for additional information. I'm sorry, not information. Additional hand washing tips. Okay? You have to be careful because sometimes you read something else into the text like I did. So just kind of make sure you're checking your work. Alright, so it should read, visit www.foodworkers.com for additional hand washing tips. Make sure that you include the punctuation at the end of that signature line. Alright, so we've got basically the text typed in for our flyer. Alright, and then on the next couple of pages, on pages 1-20 and 1-21, you'll notice it gives you some information on how you can navigate through a Word document. You just need to read through that and let me know if you have any questions about it. Most of you probably already know a lot of the ways that you navigate through a Word document, but if you don't, you'll need to study those. And like I said, let me know if you have questions. Now, what we are ready to do at this point, since we've got the text typed in for our flyer, we are now ready to save our document for the first time. So what we're going to do is click on the File tab up on the ribbon, and we're going to click the Save As link right here, okay? And then we're going to click the Browse button, okay? Now, for this class, it really doesn't matter where you save your work for this class, but I would highly recommend creating a folder for this class on one of your drives that you have available to you, whether it's an online drive like OneDrive, or whether it's a physical drive on your computer somewhere. You need to create a folder called Computer Applications where you can save all your work for this class. It'll just make it easier to find your files when you get ready to submit them. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do to save this document is we're going to type in the name that it gives us there on step 3 on page 1-22. Alright, and it's kind of a long name there, but let's go ahead and type this into the file name box. Here in the Save As dialog box, we're going to type in SC_WD_1_wash hands flyer unformatted. Okay, just make sure you're typing it exactly the way it's shown on step 3 on page 1-22. Alright, then once you've done that, once we've typed in the correct file name, then what we're going to do is choose where we're going to save it. And again, this is where it's going to be different on my computer than it is on yours, because you're going to save yours wherever you know it's best for you to save your work. Again, I would recommend creating a folder for this class. Okay, so I'm going to save mine on my H drive, and so I'm going to navigate to my H drive over here on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to go to Fall 2024 Courses, and I'm going to find the Computer Applications folder, and that's where I'm going to save mine. Alright, and so I'm going to click the Save button. Okay, and it's going to save that with in that location that I chose in the Save As dialog box with that name. Okay, and then once we've got that saved, that's really all I want to do in this first part of this demonstration series of videos. So in the next part, in the next video, I will start on page 1-23, and I will show you how to format the text that we just typed in for our flyer. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you.